It was a moment that no one saw coming. John, the outspoken commentator known for his biting critiques of the status quo, had just been invited to discuss the most pressing issue of the decade: Trump's trade war, the relentless war on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the myth of meritocracy that had been used to justify countless systems of inequality for generations. The stakes were high. The spotlight was on John, who had long been an advocate for social justice, equality, and transparency. But tonight, he was about to clash with an unexpected guest, a high-profile businessman who had supported Trump's policies and rejected the very principles of DEI. The debate was set to be a storm. John had always been known for his intellectual rigor, but this wasn't just about facts or statistics. It was about challenging a narrative that had been built on the backs of the marginalized. As the host introduced the two guests, John's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with his opponent's cold confidence. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, one that would not only reveal the cracks in the American dream but also expose the deep flaws in the system. The conversation began innocuously enough, with the host introducing the topic of Trump's trade war and its global implications. John was first to speak. He didn't mince words. The trade war is not just an economic strategy, it's a statement. It's about prioritizing power and profits over people. Trump's policies, while dressed up as America First, have done more harm than good. They've hurt workers, fueled division, and ultimately, served the interests of the very elites he claimed to challenge. His opponent, a sharp, wealthy businessman, immediately jumped in. "You don't get it, John. The trade war was necessary to protect American interests. We can't afford to let China and other countries dominate. We need to defend our workers, defend our industries, and bring back jobs." John leaned in, his eyes narrowing. But at what cost? It's not about protecting the workers, is it? It's about protecting the wealth and power of a select few. The middle class is getting crushed under the weight of this war, and what do we get in return? Tariffs that hurt farmers, manufacturers, and ordinary people who can't afford the rising prices. This isn't a trade war, it's a class war. The businessman scoffed. It's easy for you to sit there and criticize without understanding the bigger picture. The global economy is a game, and to win, you have to make tough decisions. It's about keeping America competitive. John shot back, but what you fail to understand is that the game was rigged long before Trump even came into power. The system we're working in is inherently flawed. It's not about making America competitive, it's about perpetuating a myth of meritocracy that says, if you work hard enough, you'll succeed. But that's simply not true. The businessman's face hardened. What do you mean by that? Hard work has always been the backbone of America. John's voice grew stronger, cutting through the tension. Hard work doesn't guarantee success in a system that is designed to keep people down. The myth of meritocracy has allowed the rich to justify their wealth by blaming the poor for their own misfortune. But look closer, and you'll see that access to opportunity isn't the same for everyone. The playing field is not level, and no amount of hard work can overcome the barriers that inequality creates. The audience was on edge as the debate escalated, but John wasn't done. He pivoted to the war on DEI, a topic that had been simmering in the background. And don't get me started on DEI. This push to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion programs under the guise of colorblind policies is a direct attack on progress. You can't pretend that equality exists when the structures of power are built to exclude people based on their race, gender, and background. DEI is about leveling the playing field and giving everyone an equal chance. The businessman's voice rose. You're missing the point. DEI is divisive. It's creating division where there shouldn't be any. People should be hired based on merit, not their skin color or background. We've been too focused on identity politics, and it's doing more harm than good. John paused, the room hanging in silence. The reality is that merit is a construct, he said softly, but with cutting clarity. We've been sold this idea that merit is objective, that it's based solely on talent, intelligence, and hard work. But in reality, merit is shaped by the same systems of privilege and bias that have always existed. The meritocratic system is just another way to mask inequality and justify exclusion. The truth is, people who benefit from these systems don't want to disrupt the status quo. They call it merit, but it's really just a way to maintain power. As the debate reached its boiling point, the businessman tried to retort, but John was relentless. He leaned in, his voice firm and passionate. We need to stop pretending that everything is fine. We need to call out the systems that keep people marginalized. We need to reject the myth of meritocracy and confront the reality that has been hidden for too long. The truth is, we'll never make real progress if we keep upholding a system that rewards a few at the expense of the many. The businessman, now visibly frustrated, shot back, "You don't get it. You can't just tear down everything and expect things to get better." John took a breath, his response measured but powerful. "I'm not tearing things down, I'm asking for us to rebuild. We can't fix a system that's broken by pretending it's working. We need to create something new, something that includes everyone, not just the few at the top. That's the real solution." In that moment, the room fell silent. The audience could feel the weight of John's words, and it was clear that the debate was no longer just about Trump's trade war or DEI. It was about the future of America, about what kind of society it wanted to be. As the interview drew to a close, John's final words lingered in the air. The trade war, the war on DEI, the myth of meritocracy, they're all part of the same story. A story that says only some people deserve success, while others are left to struggle. But we can write a different story. A story where everyone has a fair shot, where opportunity isn't determined by who you know or where you come from. The question is, will we choose to fight for that future, or will we let the same systems continue to divide us? The businessman, momentarily speechless, looked out at the audience, but the damage was done. John had not just won the argument. He had exposed the flaws in the narrative that had kept the country divided for so long. As the camera faded to black, viewers were left with one undeniable truth. The real battle was not just about trade or policies, it was about the kind of world we want to live in. And John had made it clear, the time for change was now.